In this video, I kind of just wanted to walk through my experience with the GMAT focus and how target test prep was able to help me. Hopefully something in this video will help you in your journey as well. I know that the GMAT can be intimidating. So here's a little bit about me to start. So my background, I was born and raised in Utah in the United States. I am actually finishing my undergraduate right now. So the reason I'm taking the GMAT now is I'm applying to deferred MBA programs. So I apply right now and then I defer for 2, 3, or 4 years, get some work experience, and then I will go to business school. So I'm applying to a few schools, to Columbia, Kellogg, Wharton. And I knew when I planned on doing this that I needed to get a competitive GMAT score. My background is primarily in entrepreneurship and technology. So that's kind of what I'm planning to pursue long term. And I just feel like getting a MBA is something important for me to achieve my vision. So that's kind of where the GMAT came into my life a few months ago. And to be honest, I was super intimidated at first. I'm someone that historically I've been able to do pretty well on standardized tests historically, but one of my weaknesses is definitely math. I'm usually really good on the verbal side in these types of tests, but that's where I kind of got nervous because I heard that the GMAT was really heavy on the quantitative side of things. So I started off studying. First, I found a company called Menlo Coaching. They had like a GMAT course and they had some videos. So I started to do that. I bought the official GMAT textbook and some of the official questions. And I studied 20 hours a week for about a month or two, not really knowing what I was getting myself into. And I took some practice tests and I didn't get the best scores, but I thought that by taking practice tests, I was getting better, which is false. The practice tests do not help you get better. They just kind of help you get better with timing, but not necessarily the content and answering questions better. So I only studied for about 2 months doing those things, and I got a 555, which was like 50th percentile. And I was like, I can't even get into I can't even get into an MBA program in the United States with a score like that. Like I can't even get to like a top 40. So that's definitely was a big wake up call for me when I got a 555, and my quant score was 35th percentile. My verbal wasn't even that great either. It was like in the 70s. My data insights was 66 percentile. So that's when I realized I needed to change things. So I went to Google, and after doing some research, I kept seeing this company, Target Test Prep. And I started to see all these good reviews. And this was at the same time the GMAT was starting to transition to the new GMAT test, the GMAT Focus. And this was back in November when I was searching for something new. And Target Test Prep launched their GMAT Focus course like before anyone else. And so I was like, look, it's not totally proven yet, but it looks like this company's awesome. So I'm going to give it a shot. So I decided to do it. So I signed up for Target Test Prep, and immediately within like the first 2 weeks of just doing what it said and creating my study plan, I instantly started to recognize a difference. And I was like, I'm actually learning this content and I feel like I'm getting more confident in my abilities. So yeah. So anyways, I used Target Test Prep. I used it for about 3 to 4 months, 20 hours a week. I do it at night or in the early mornings and on the weekends, but about 20 hours a week for a few months in total. And they Target Test Prep allows you to track all these analytics, which is awesome. But I have spent I checked the other day at the end, and I had spent 284 hours according to Target Test Prep in their portal, you could say, and in their course. So spent a lot of time, but their course is pretty lengthy, sorry, but it is so thorough, and it's going to prepare you for everything that you need to do to get your target score on the GMAT. So there's a few things I'd like to point out with how it helped me. So obviously my big focus was getting better at the quant. That was my weakest section of all, but also I needed to get better in the verbal, kind of sharpen up my verbal. And I also needed to do better in the data insight. So I kind of had to prove everything, but mainly focus on the quant. So the first thing I will say is their advice in target test prep is just really good. Their advice on strategy and like how to learn effectively. Like one of the things I'll always remember is they said, if your brain, somewhere in the target test prep is course, it says this. It says, if your brain doesn't hurt, or if it's not kind of like tiresome after you've learned something, then you actually didn't really push yourself to learn. It should be a little painful. It should kind of give you a headache and you should be really tired after learning. That means that your brain was working. So I just remember that kind of gave me the mindset at the very beginning of study hard, really try to genuinely learn this stuff. And that just gave me the right paradigm for the rest of the time. So the quant was super helpful. I literally did like 1,000 questions, 1,000 practice questions with TTP. And just slowly but surely, they say, don't focus on speed at first, just focus on getting it right. And so at first I was on easy problems. I was taking a few minutes, but it was the best advice ever. I just didn't focus on speed. I just focused on getting it right. And eventually the speed came. So that was really helpful with quant. Also my verbal, I wasn't expecting their verbal to help as much as it did, but it just really helped sharpen my skills. They also gave really good advice, which was read the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, and they offered some book suggestions as well that have similar writing styles and like reading levels as the GMAT. And so I actually got a Wall Street Journal subscription and I read the Wall Street Journal 30 minutes every day. I think that was one of the big keys for me getting the verbal score that I did, which I will get to what I actually ended up getting on the test. But anyways, their advice and then on data insights was fantastic as well. This is a new section on the GMAT. It's a little different than what we've seen before. And so it helped me prepare all of their content. It was really awesome. So after studying for months, I finished the TTP course and I got a 615, which I went from 50th percentile to 80th percentile. So I was a lot happier about this, but still it wasn't quite the score that I wanted. I knew that for the schools that I'm applying to, I needed to get more in the 95th, 93rd, 95th percentile. So I decided to prepare for just a few more weeks. This was about a month ago. And I was like, okay, I'm going to take it again. So I also worked with one of the tutors at Target Test Prep, Jeff Miller. Shout out to Jeff for helping me gain a lot of confidence in quant. I definitely recommend if you feel like you need a little more help and a little more personalized help, I would definitely recommend getting one of their tutors. And eventually I was able to score a 675 just this last week, which was my perfect like target score. That's exactly what I was aiming for. And I was able to go from a 35th percentile in the quant months before to 71st percentile in the quant, 79th percentile in data insights, and 100th percentile in verbal. So I got a perfect score on verbal, which I was really happy about. So it was honestly, target test prep did what it said it would do. And I know that there's not like a one size fits all course for everyone, and everyone has different needs, and every course might tailor differently to people's needs, but target test prep is worth the hype. I know it gets a lot of hype. I know they do a lot of marketing. They have a lot of reviews out there, but I would say that it actually worked for me. So I don't know if it's worked for everyone, but it definitely worked for me. And if you're someone that struggles with quant and doesn't really even know where to start, target test prep is perfect for you. There's a few aspects that I'd like to point out. Number one, it's extremely thorough. So I found that some YouTube videos and some other courses assumed that I already knew basic math rules and things, but I hadn't taken a math class in like 6 or 7 years. And I did not know really anything about math. And the thing I liked about Target Test Prep is it assumed I knew nothing. It started at the very basic level and taught me all the skills, everything that I needed to know. So that's super helpful if you're someone that hasn't really done math in a while. There's tons of practice questions. Like I said before, I probably did over 1,000 questions by completing Target Test Prep. And so you just get so many reps that is one of the most important things on the GMAT test. Those reps really, really help you getting in those reps. And then on that point, there's this quote in the Target Test Prep course that says, practice so much that you can't get questions wrong. And I think that pretty much sums up what makes Target Test Prep amazing is it just gets you to practice so many questions that when come test day, you're confident, you're not scared of anything thrown at you, and you know how to approach problems. And you've seen so many different problems that the GMAT does get creative with new ones, but it really does prepare you for anything they throw at you. So I feel like those things really made the difference for me in the end. So yeah, to end, I would just like to give 4 points of personal advice as you prepare for the GMAT. I'd say number one, do Target Test Prep. Do it. Do the entire thing. Do it as they tell you to. They're very specific in the beginning of Target Test Prep about how to do it. So listen to them. Listen to what it says and don't try to do it your way. Don't try to take their course and kind of do it what's convenient for you. Do it as they tell you to. And they'll personalize it for you based on your schedule, based on your strengths and weaknesses. But really, I would just say follow what they say. They've been doing this for a long time. They've been doing this a lot longer than you. So I would just trust them on that. Number two, I would say go through Target Test Prep all the way through, but also I would buy the official GMAT questions. You can buy a pack of like 100 verbal, 100 data insights, 100 quant, and they're just like extra official questions. I would do those once you've completed Target Test Prep and you're in your practice test phase. I would buy those extra official questions just to get even more reps and go through all of those. Number three, do all the practice tests. Like I said before, practice tests don't really help you improve your score directly by like teaching you the content, but they help you on speed and on not being as nervous on test day, which is a really big deal. So do all your practice tests. It'll just make you more comfortable for the real thing, and it'll teach you the right speed that you need to go at. And then number four, and this is the most important thing I want to nail in this video, is believe in yourself. I know that standardized tests are intimidating, especially something like the GMAT, but the first and most important decision you can make is believing that you can do it. And I'm not the only one that went from 50th percentile to 96th percentile, from 555 to 675. There are other people that have done even bigger increases. So I just want you to know that wherever you're at, you can do it. You have resources like Target Test Prep that will prepare you every step of the way. And honestly, it's just up to you to do the work. It was hard work. Like, honestly, I didn't want to be studying the GMAT on Saturdays. I wanted to go hang out and have fun, but I just ultimately had the discipline to suck it up and study for a few months. And I was able to get the score that I wanted. So I would just say work hard and believe in yourself, and you can accomplish anything you set your mind to. So anyways, this is my video, and I just want to thank Target Test Prep for helping me achieve my target score. It's just when I got this score, just this huge cloud that has been over me the last few months went away. And I felt so much relief because no longer will my score impede what school I can get into. It's really up to me now on the work experience, the essays and the resume, things like that, to get into these schools. But my score shouldn't impede me, which is just a very comforting thought, because I did not want a test score to dictate where I was going to go. So anyways, thank you, Target Test Prep. Thanks again, Jeff Miller, for helping me believe in myself, and good luck on the test. You're going to crush it.